My next panel, again, I'm the director of the Western North America Rotary Environmental and Sustainability Rotary Action Group. I've gotten about 12 requests last year from clubs in Southern California and Mexico about the number one thing they want to address in the future, and that's the Tijuana River crisis. So we assembled a panel team about 6 months ago, and we're going to start working out the programs. The key is that we're going to work with Rotary clubs on both sides of the border. Lots of times, the organizations like Surf Rider and a lot of the amazing organizations, they're working in California, but they're not talking with anybody in Mexico. So the goal of this group is to get everybody working together. And so the person in charge of my Tijuana Rotary Action Group is Dave Rice. He's from the Rotary Club of Newport Beach. He's also president of the United Nations Association in Orange County.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Can you hear me okay? All right. So we're excited to present on this really pressing issue of the Tijuana River cleanup project that has frankly been going on for longer than any of us have been around. And it's still not solved. A lot of dollars have been spent on this, mostly really at the back end of the waste treatment part. But there's just this need to really fix this thing because of all of the pollution. It has now been rated the second most polluted river in the world. And so it's causing all kinds of health issues for anybody in the area. It's polluting, not only the river itself, but it falling into the ocean, in the Pacific. So in the San Diego area, Imperial Beach has been closed because of all the pollution. Coronado, if any of you have been there, it gets closed from time to time because of this. And it's just an ongoing problem that needs to be solved. There's solutions available. And so we're fortunate today to have just some terrifically experienced people on this topic that all bring a bit of a different perspective. And so, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our first speaker. And that is, Faye, I want to get your name proper. Faye Crevoshay. She is the Communications and Policy Director for WILDCOAST, where she has led strategic communications and policy initiatives since 2001. Based in San Diego, she develops advocacy strategies, cultivating relationships with key officials, and forges partnerships with the private and social sectors to advance conservation policies in Mexico and the United States. Faye's internationally acclaimed conservation campaigns have been featured in the Wall Street Journal, NPR, New York Times, BBC, CNN, and Televisa. She spearheaded groundbreaking initiatives such as My Man Doesn't Eat Sea Turtle Eggs, credited as one of the most effective ocean campaigns by renowned scientist Dr. Randy Olson. She also led high-profile conservation campaigns with Mexican lucha libre legend El Hijo del Santo and several bands, and Lincoln Park, to promote marine conservation and natural climate solutions. Currently, Faye manages WILDCOAST's marine debris program at the U.S.-Mexico border, where she works to prevent plastics and waste tires from polluting the Tijuana River and the Pacific Ocean. Prior to WILDCOAST, Faye was a reporter at NPR and El Financiero, ran her own media relations firm. A native of Mexico City, she holds a BA in economics from the University in Israel, an MA in political science from York University in Toronto, and a master's in international relations from Universidad in Mexico City. Welcome, Faye.
Thank you. Now you know me. Yeah, it works. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Earth Day. Today is Earth Day. And this is an urgent topic because this is the perfect example of what happens to a problem that you don't deal with. It grows and grows. And for the past 20 years, a problem that really doesn't take rocket science to solve, nobody has solved it. We've been talking and talking about it. And at this point, WILDCOAST feels, a lot of us feel we have to do actions with impact that directly impact the problem and cut the problem. So just for you who've never been at the US-Mexico border, get a little idea of how this looks and why it's important for the US, because this is a binational problem who does not have a solution from one side. You need a binational solution. So for you just to get the picture, we're going to run the video. So let's run the video. We'll just run half a minute, so, or less. Put attention to it so you can kind of figure out. This is the Tijuana River who runs it doesn't have a audio. So this river runs 3/4 of it in Mexico, and the last quarter of the river ends up in Mexico. This is not it. I wish it would look so nice. No, this is
That's not our river.
No, it's not ours. Not it? No, not it. So it finished, the last part of it goes in San Diego, in the Tijuana estuary, which is in San Diego, and the mouth of the river is in San Diego, and it goes to the Pacific Ocean. When it becomes a global problem, because we are polluting the ocean faster, and tons of plastic and tires. While they put it up, let me tell you why tires are such a big deal. Because they're big, because water stays inside of them when it rains or from other places. They are vectors for mosquitoes who carry diseases like yellow fever, like Zika, and others, and they go in communities on both sides of the border. Because San Diego, I have some pictures in my presentation, you'll see what happens. So the problem starts, everybody says, in Tijuana, and goes to San Diego in the last part, and then the Pacific Ocean. But no, it's not so simple. I guess we'll start with this. Okay, so I work for a nonprofit. Okay. So I work for WILDCOAST. We are a nonprofit organization, binational, international, who work in conserving coastal and marine ecosystems, and we address climate change with natural solutions. Okay, so this is the border where I work, the US-Mexico border, and the river, as I said, goes in both sides. And this is in the middle. As you see, it's a very beautiful estuary. The side that you're seeing Tijuana there. You see that round thing? Used to be a bullfight ring, okay? And this is how it looks after the rain. These are the tributaries to the Tijuana River. And these are the plastics and tires. We're lucky that they didn't go. They got stuck in the mud. So we in WILDCOAST, this is Los Laureles Canyon, we built a very cost-efficient idea, which is these trash booms who stop all these plastics and tires. This is how it looks before. And then we pay the people in the community who were very poor, underserved. And they separate the plastics. I don't know what happened. Okay, so I'll go to this. This is how it looks on the top, like the tires kind of stay on the top. And this is how the US looks. These are two pictures of the US. On one side is the river when it's coming to the Tijuana River. On the other side, it's a trail where human beings, these very underserved communities who have few parks, were supposed to walk, and also horses walk. But this is how they look now. And it's growing and growing. We never thought that when they would close the beach in Coronado, such an iconic and beautiful hotel, then they would stop the problem, but they didn't. Today, many days of the year, the beaches of not only Imperial Beach, but Coronado are closed. And this is because all the stuff is running into the ocean, Pacific Ocean, when it becomes all of us problems. Okay, so these are the people in the community. We have been able to stop 290,000 pounds of debris from entering the Tijuana River, just with two of these very cost-efficient devices, trash booms we call them, and then we separate and we try to recycle. The PET is easier, and then the plastic, the HD, like all the chlorine and that also recyclable. The others are more difficult, but we do recycle most of it. This is our second one. Our second trash bin, we made it with the drifting nets from the ocean. So we recycle the nets to stop the trash. This is pretty new. And there you see the picture of the real manager and real warrior in Tijuana, Rosario.
So Faye, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it, and then we're just going to introduce
okay.
Ramon. Yeah.
So this, where the star is where we did the first one, and in the other, the second. We work with the community. Basically, we have 58 places where community brings plastic. We made a park for these very underserved children with the tires. We do a lot of media. We have gotten a lot of Tijuana to join us and to work with us. And we work with tourists. We work with artists. We try to do the whole thing in Tijuana, and the community is with us. Now we do cleanups of underwater, cleanups under the ocean. In 1 hour and a half, we took 95 huge tires out of the ocean. I mean, and it's the growing problem.
All right.
Basically.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So now I want to introduce Ramon Chairez. He's the Director of Education and Environmental Advocacy for Un Mar de Colores, the Colorful Ocean, San Diego-based nonprofit advancing outdoor equity through free youth programs centered on environmental literacy, ocean stewardship, and mentorship. Ramon, tell us what your work is trying to affect this issue.
So our organization, we help designate the Tijuana River as the second most endangered river on American River's top 10 list. For the second year in a row, we're number 2. And just to correct a little bit, we're number 2 in the United States.
Okay.
Not globally. If we can go back to that, there was a slide there on Faye's presentation where there was a map of the river as well as the U.S. side and the Mexican side. If we can go back to that, that would be great. So I'm going to paint a quick story. I'm going to keep it brief because I know that we have other panelists here. In the 90s, the U.S. and Mexico and Canada, they make this trade agreement, NAFTA, the USMCA now. During that time, Tijuana's population was approximately 1 million people, right? Fast forward to today, the consensus says it's about 2.3 to 2.5 million people, but it's probably closer to 3 million people. In 30 years, Tijuana has grown 3 times. It's an incredibly dense city. Now, what's happened in that time is that maquiladoras, as a result of NAFTA, have kind of flooded the industrial zones in Tijuana and other cities across the border. And Tijuana has not been able to keep up with this wastewater infrastructure, nor the high explosion of population. And part of our problem stems from that. If you look on that map, once that industrial pollution and sewage crosses the border, it does not get treated when it comes to the river itself, the channel. And so in the last 7 years, since 2017, 130 billion gallons of industrial waste, sewage, trash, tires has flowed through that river, through our estuary, and into our ocean, right? Untreated. Now, to contextualize how much that is, that's about the size of the San Diego Bay. Anybody familiar with San Diego here? We've filled up the San Diego Bay 2 times over with that mix of pollution, right? And so there's a whole array of issues that have kind of arisen as a result of that. But what you need to know is that both countries agreed to keep up with their wastewater infrastructure, and they haven't done that. Now, recently, they've made some investments, and the plants in Tijuana are going to come online. We're planning to build out our wastewater treatment plant. But the issue isn't going to get fixed anytime soon. And what's happening now on the American side, really close to in between Imperial Beach and the border is that we have toxic gases, namely hydrogen sulfide, but a bunch of other things emanating from the river, basically being released into the air. And there's a bunch of communities living alongside that river valley. And so we do not know what the long-term chronic exposure to hydrogen sulfide and other toxic gases are for our community. And we know that that's been there for at least 4 to 5 years, if not longer. So that's a problem. What we're trying to do is get the US government, the federal government, to declare a state of emergency so that we can address those issues and protect our communities. And this is impacting not just residents, Navy SEALs, Border Patrol. Our beaches have been closed for 1,200 days. It's a crisis. Now, we've invested a lot of money along the border and bypassed a lot of EPA regulations, permits. I'm not quite certain why we can't do that in this situation. And so we're really calling on the Trump administration to do something about that. And as we speak right now, EPA Director Zeldin is in San Diego meeting with stakeholders, et cetera, et cetera. So those are my 3 minutes, I hope.
Yeah, awesome. So you can see, thank you so much, and you can see just the magnitude of the issue. And again, the challenge in really getting this solved is by getting true cooperation between both governments. And we're hopeful, frankly, that at this conference, especially on Friday with an oceans conference happening, and a number of folks are going to be here from Mexico that we've been discussing with and working with, that we can try to move things forward in getting some real cooperation here to make things happen in a way that's needed. So one of the solutions that is going to be part of the effort here is somebody that I think some of you that have been here in the room already have already been introduced to. Marko Kärkkäinen is with River Recycle, and I'm going to let Marko tell you a little bit about what he's done and what their organization has done from Finland to really work on this issue in rivers around the world. Marko.
Yeah, thank you. When you asked me to join this panel, I think the biggest message what I can bring here is that collaboration between the countries, between the companies, NGOs and everything. So I bring my knowledge and our company knowledge, what we have already gained from Asia, which there is a real problem. And I want to join and give my knowledge to everybody, because with River Recycle, we collecting this invaluable plastic in the rivers in Asia and also Africa, soon also in Tijuana, Guatemala, Honduras. And I met Faye, that's why. And I'm involved also this tire recycling projects as well. So I think that nobody can win this war by themselves. So we have to unite it. And maybe I'm here today because I can think out of the box. Because I'm from Finland and working from Asia, so I have a different setup or mind setup comparing you, like a positive way, I hope.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and we look forward to your participation in this overall solution. Bettina Hausmann is a compadre of mine with United Nations Association. She's been the president of the San Diego chapter of United Nations Association, and we are also working together with Steve Bender and some others here in an organization called Sustainable Alliance Impact Solutions, bringing solutions to the table. So, Bettina, would you want to share some comments about your observation here with this?
Thank you so much. Living in San Diego, I want to bring also a little bit to the public or to the audience that when we're talking about the river cleanup, we're not talking about cleaning up also the debris that's in it or the chemicals that we heard, right? Just want to remind you, when the wind is blowing, right, it will get droplets from any water body into the air. And that means anyone that's close by or even a few miles away will breathe it in. That is a health issue. It's a health issue that isn't mostly spoken about. It's really relatively undiscovered. So we're working with Scripps Oceanography in San Diego, particularly on that matter of the droplets in the air, how does it impact health. And with that, I really want to just reiterate what we learned here. It is these collaborations that keep us really together in terms of how do we tackle these issues on not only climate change, but really these hands-on in our communities, in my backyard, how that impacts me in the immediate, but also in the long term, right? So for us to collaborate across not only communities, but also across sectors is really the key. And I want to give a shout out to the visionary and founder of this EarthX forum, because that's really how I see where we stop the talking, where we're connecting with one another to understand that my technology, my idea, my program can benefit from our collaboration together. And I'm not a fan of the word hope, because hope is no strategy, but I replace it with I'm determined. I'm not hoping, I'm determined to make these connections on this platform that's called EarthX. So a shout out to that, because I think for all of us, it always sounds, to quote my favorite, Madiba, which Nelson Mandela, if you don't know Madiba, he says it always seems impossible until it's done. So let's get that done. Thank you.
Hear, hear. We can clap on that. And I want to second what Bettina just said. We've been having so many conversations, as I'm sure all of you have, with folks that you're meeting here, connecting with, and the ability to collaborate. If we could all kind of get in a room for a day or two and just talk solutions, it would be amazing, the kinds of solutions that we could really assemble and put together. And so it's one of the things that's so great about this conference, is having that opportunity to make those connections and have those discussions. And you know, I just personally really appreciate the amount of time that's available in this conference for that kind of networking. So thank you for that. So last but not least, Nathan White is the CEO and founder of Aegis, Inc. And they're an architectural firm. And Nathan has a real vision for not only how to solve the problem, but how to enhance the communities around the river at the same time. And these are the kinds of visions that we're needing to implement. And so the question is, what's holding us back from being able to really leap forward and do the things that are needed to not only solve this issue, but many of the other issues when we have this kind of vision? So Nathan, tell us about your vision.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited. I'm thankful to have this opportunity to share. And I think what's been discussed here is a need for a solutions-based approach. And my background is in architecture and real estate development. So part of that is visualization, right? People really thrive on being able to see and feel and touch the solution, as opposed to the continual discussion about the problems. As necessary as they are, I think a big part of this is the financial mechanisms that are able to support a solution. So we have some slides that we could share later with your team if we don't have them here today, but really showing a vision of what we can do to build a community restoration plan that's decentralized and that has financial backing is critical. The tires were mentioned, plastic is also mentioned. If you can utilize waste conversion systems, that becomes a financial mechanism to then be able to work on the water quality and nature-based solutions improvements. So that's been a big focus of ours. We're interested in the TJ River and have been working on it for many years as a solutions toolkit that could be replicated around the world. The Tijuana River is very similar to issues that we have in India, in China, but also here in the United States, where you have nutrient overloading, you have toxic chemicals, but you also have plastic pollution and other types of pollution. So the solutions and the nature-based approach that the Tijuana River can provide is a template for not only the financing, but community-based intervention that is scalable and modular, where you can take incremental steps. It's not like a large wastewater treatment plant where you have to spend 5 to 10 years of permitting and then 5 to 10 years of construction, and the only beneficiaries are small groups of individuals and large companies that are installing those facilities. My approach, and I think this whole panel shares in the belief that you want to make that a decentralized community benefit. And that could be scalable, where you pay people to be pickup partners of trash. And that's a viable alternative to traditional maquiladoras, right? Where they say, I'm very passionate about planting trees. That becomes an opportunity for them in the TJ River Valley to clean the river and enhance it, make it beautiful, and that's that person's dream job. Somebody else is very passionate about waste conversion. There's an opportunity for scalable, modular type of units that could be deployed along the riverbank. But my main interest, and what I'll leave here today saying, is that we definitely want to get questions and answers, but my main objective is scaling these up to a global level. And that binational approach with Mexico is that example of being able to scale technology that's financeable. The climate solutions, if they're just environmental solutions alone, they're not doing enough. They need to be economic and climate solutions, and then you've been able to benefit the governments that install them. So we're very interested in terraforming and large-scale interventions around the world because seawater can be our solution. So I'll just leave with that, and happy to meet and share any questions.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. So I think in summary, I'm just going to ask each panelist to sort of give me, if they could do, one thing to really help move things forward from your perspective, what would that be? Starting with you, Faye.
Okay, well, now we are bent on doing recycle of tires in the border. In the entire border, in the US, Mexico, there is no one recyclable plant of tires. And the US, as much as they talk very nice about solutions, exports to Mexico, California exports, I'll tell you the number in California, 3 million tires a year of used tires to Tijuana. So the tires in Tijuana, as I said in the beginning, are not entirely Mexican. Very important part of them are from California, and they go back karmically to California, not all of them, and then to the ocean. So we should be just consistent. And we want to do a tire recycling plant because with tires, it's either you recycle them, and because if you bury them, they produce methane, which is worse than CO2. So we really need actual solutions that can be profitable, because that is sustainable in capitalism, is profitable, and we can make new tires out of recycled rubber instead of new rubber, and many other products, mulch and feeding. So what I would want you to think about is how can we invest in making, you will be doing good and also making some money and helping the planet.
Absolutely. That's the win-win. Thank you. Ramon.
Yeah, so I represent the community. I grew up next to the river valley, literally, and then my family's from Tijuana. So my parents were in Tijuana before there was a channel, and we need to know that the channel essentially is operating like a chute and a dumping. I guess it's operating like plumbing. There's industrial waste and everything else coming through that channel. And so I think what's been missing from our conversation is bringing the maquiladoras into the conversation. And so there's a lot of, community-based organizations, different agencies on both sides of the border. And of course, we have the state and the federal government on both sides of the border. And, everyone's kind of like tiptoeing around the river for political reasons that I can't judge. But what's missing in all that is a space where we're all coming together, and the maquiladoras are also coming together to have conversations about how we can fix this using different models. And so that's what we're hoping for, and it's been very difficult. We have to know that those industries, they're for the most part American, and they're producing American products. And that industrial waste is polluting not just Tijuana, but the US as well. And so the economic impact of our beaches being closed for so long, I can't even give you the numbers on that. But we're also having a public health crisis. Like, our people are already getting sick. Nausea, gastrointestinal issues, respiratory issues. We don't know what the long-term effects are neurologically to be breathing all this stuff in the air on a daily basis for the last few years. So we're hoping that, with the new administrator at the EPA, taking the lead, that we can bring other people to the conversation.
100%, thank you. That's so right. Marko, any last words?
Luckily, I have a possibility to show you later today what we are doing.
Yeah.
But maybe my message is now, because there's a group of people, group of companies, organization, let's do it. And we're talking about different kind of states and so on. I can be a middleman. Let's do it today.
Absolutely. Great. Bettina.
For me, it's really also to bring to all of us that this discussion is about the cleanup. We cannot forget also our responsibility as consumers, right? So this is the cleanup, but thinking ahead of it, how do we stop actually this debris on happening again and again and again? It's our responsibility as consumers, but also us as business owners, right? We have to look for the next thing that will replace these things that are easier to recycle, are easier to reuse. And as a consumer, we need to stop buying these products, because we know when there is no demand for it, then that will disappear from the market. So my really last words in that regard is truly, there's a full-on new discussion, different discussion to have. However, it's a holistic approach. It's never only one thing. So we're stopping and taking care of the problem now. We need to. And we have to think ahead, how can we ensure this is not continue to happen after we cleaned it up? Thank you.
Nathan.
Excellent. For me, I would reiterate a lot of what's said. The solutions are there. It's about implementation. So getting things on the ground quickly. And I think the solution to that, a big part of that, is working in Tijuana, right? You have a different government, different set of rules, and those solutions could be implemented quickly. They could be modular, they can be installed and replicated very efficiently to prevent a lot of that pollution crossing the Mexico and US border. So for me, I look at alternatives to plastic pollution, alternatives to tires, using some type of seawater systems, but the demonstration and the innovation implementation is most critical. Let's get that in place. Let's get that demonstration facility operational that you can bring those government officials to, you can bring the public into to participate and be able to see those technologies on the ground working and scale that up. Scale it up to the entire channelized river. You don't have to extract all the concrete. You just need to put things on the concrete channel. And that is a different strategy than LA is doing, where they're trying to remove the lined canal and make it a river again. We could have a hybrid version that's much quicker. So I'm excited about solutions, about implementation, about getting it done quickly. And I think this panel here is well equipped to get those systems implemented very soon.
I agree. And I love saying that all problems are solvable. I'm sure you all agree. And it's just a great example of how most problems really do require collaboration. And I think this is a great opportunity for that kind of collaboration. And so happy to have been a part of this panel. Thank you all very much for attending and for your interest. And we look forward to questions in breaks or afterwards. So thanks again to the panel. Thank you very much. Thank you.